Welcome to this week's segment of Making History. Today we'll be talking about a revolutionary agreement that's been made in Congress at the Constitutional Convention. This week's episode is entitled Land Disputes. What's being done? The image you are now viewing is an artist's depiction of what occurred at what the media is calling Shays' Rebellion. What does this have to do with this groundbreaking Constitutional Convention decision? Keep listening. The land between the Appalachian Mountains and the Mississippi River, which was acquired after colonial victory in the Revolutionary War in the 1783 Treaty of Paris, has been experiencing a whirlwind of debate. Land speculators have been purchasing land in this territory with the hopes of reselling it at a higher price. Seems simple enough. So what's the problem? Settlers have also been squatting on this land, meaning living there and cultivating it without the knowledge that they are technically on someone else's property. What has been occurring recently is that speculators have been reclaiming their property only after settlers have developed the land and made it usable, leaving settlers in a difficult situation of having to either leave or pay rent to the speculators. On top of this, different states are also giving competing land claims for the area. In short, we have a disaster brewing in our midst. Why did we show you Shays' Rebellion, you're wondering? Well, it all happened because a former soldier and farmer named Daniel Shays organized a rebellion where he and fellow farmers burned the courthouses so they could not rule over land dispute cases. Since the court usually sided with the speculator that had the official papers of property ownership, if the courts were burned, the settlers could stay. On top of that, the already existing states were giving competing land claims for the area as well. The question was, who was the rightful owner of this area? In 1781, Virginia began ceding its extensive land claims to Congress, a move that made other states more comfortable in doing the same. In 1784, Thomas Jefferson first proposed a method of incorporating these western territories into the United States. His plan effectively turned the states into colonies of the existing states. 10 new northwestern territories would select the constitution of an existing state and then wait until its population reached 20,000 to join the Confederation as a full member. Congress, however, feared that the new states, 10 in the Northwest, as well as Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vermont, would quickly gain enough power to outvote the old ones, and never pass the measure. Today, July 13, 1787, Congress passed the Northwest Ordinance, which created the official Northwest Territory, the first organized territory in the United States. The Northwest Ordinance would control the admission of these 3 to 5 new Midwest states and lays the legal groundwork for how those states could function. Instead of adopting the legal constructs of an existing state, each territory would have an appointed governor and council. When the population reaches 5,000, the residents could elect their own assembly, although the governor would retain absolute veto power. When 60,000 settlers resided in a territory, they could draft a constitution and petition for full statehood. Proponents of the ordinance say that their objective was promoting equality and resolving disputes over Western lands. The big idea is that this is laying the groundwork for Western expansion. It creates formal procedures for transforming territories into states, a necessary framework for the advancement of the nation. It promises these new states a few things. First, that each would enter the Union on an equal footing with the original states. Second, that revenue generated from the sale of a portion of each township in the state would go to fund public education. This is the first instance of federal aid for education in history. Third, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude is allowed. And fourth, that a good faith effort would be made to respect the Indians in the territory. The ordinance provided for civil liberties and public education within the new territories, but it did not allow slavery. Pro-slavery Southerners were willing to go along with this because they hoped that the new states would be populated by white settlers from the South. They believed that although these Southerners would not have any slaves of their own, they would not join the growing abolition movement in the North. The interesting part of this ordinance regarding slavery, Article 6 to be exact, reads, "There shall be neither slavery nor involuntary servitude in the said territory, otherwise than in the punishment of crimes whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, provided always that any person escaping into the same from whom labor or service is lawfully claimed in any one of the original states, such fugitive may be lawfully reclaimed and conveyed to the person claiming his or her labor or service as aforesaid." This section has caused a whirlwind of controversy. People are now arguing that Congress is overstepping its bounds and trying to put a halt to people's right to owning property. But, in careful reading of the document, the intent is not to attack slavery, but to limit its expansion. Watching this play out will be interesting because the ordinance is the first time Congress has actually put its foot down and regulated the issue of slavery. Join us next time on Making History to hear more about the ongoing debate and advancements that are being made at the Constitutional Convention. This is Arielle Parkinson. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.